new. I'm here with
Kitty, Belle,
and Chloe. And we've got another fire starter for you. Now, you may notice our shirts look a little weird today. We actually spent the day at Dark Hollow Day Camp, which is a little bit away from where we are with Friendly Hollow, but we thought we'd leave on our Dark Hollow shirts for our video today because we were there today, and probably won't get this up till Saturday, but we were there all this week. We get to go back next week, so we're having super fun, and we wanted to make sure and say, hey, Dark Hollow. So, back to what we're doing here. We have another fire starter for you. Now, we've brought you several different ways to make fire starters, and that's because depending on what your situation is, you'll want to pick a different fire starter that works. There's some that use natural things like pine cones, and some that use dryer lint, and this one actually is a toilet paper tube, dryer lint, and wax, wrapped in wax paper. So it's a little bit more. This one has, it's bigger, so this one might be necessary if you're expecting your wood to be just a little bit wet and you need a little extra kick to get that fire going. So that would be when this fire starter is good. And of course, you need to realize that fire is dangerous, so you need to make sure and get permission and only do it very, very safely. So would you like to see what you need to make this fire starter?
Yeah!
Awesome. Now, to make our toilet paper tube, dryer lint, and wax fire starter, we need to start with a toilet paper tube, an empty one, of course. Very simple. Whatever you happen to have. The next thing we need is our wax. We have our shaved wax here. This is actually a paraffin wax. And you can get this in the candle making section or maybe the canning section of your store. Now, you do want the unscented wax, you know, as you've heard us probably say in other videos. One time we went camping and we couldn't find this, so we used some eucalyptus scented wax. It was weird. It smelled funny. Food was fine, but it's just a little weird, so you want the unscented wax, paraffin wax for that. We also need, and we have it already shaved up. Again, we'll have a different video with how to shave wax, but for now, we already start with it all shaved. We need our dryer lint. And of course, you need to get your caregiver's help before you go start pulling lint out of the dryer. So there's our dryer lint. We also need wax paper. Now, we could use butcher paper or maybe even, oh, wow, I did it again. Parchment paper. I don't know why I always forget that. Parchment paper. But we like the wax paper because it already has the wax right in it. And then we'll need a pair of scissors. And that's to cut our paper. If we just use the straight, like this whole length, that's way too much paper. And we want to be careful putting paper in our fires because they can burn very, burn up and, you know, release in the air. So we really need to be careful with that. So we'll need scissors to cut our paper to the right length. And then make sure and cover your table. And with this one in particular, you're going to want to make sure and work actually on your wax paper. Because when you start combining dryer lint and the wax all together, it gets a lot messy. So, you know, contain the mess. So, campers, are you ready for me to show you how to make your fire starter?
Yeah!
Awesome. Now, we start off with our wax paper. Now, do be careful of the cutting thing right there. It's a little sharp, and I actually have cut myself on it. So, we'll go ahead and get a sheet of wax paper. Now, you do want it this way, a little extra, because we need some extra to make our ends. So we actually, well, it's a smidge longer than that. So there is our paper. Now, here's where the messy part comes in. On our paper, we want to take some of our dryer lint, and about as much would fill the tube. Now, you could stuff this all the way full, but you do want some extra air in your tube because that'll help your fire because it needs air. So we take some of our wax shaving, a little bit, a handful, and put it together. There we go. Kind of pull this all together, as I said, this actually gets fairly messy. And then we're going to take all this and slide it up into our tube. I'm going to hold the end. You can kind of see there what's going on here. Now, you of course can do the melted wax, but that's really, really messy. And that's even something more messy than I'll do. So I prefer just the shaved wax because that's past my mess level today. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead, and it's easiest if we bring our paper around. You'll be careful because things may fall out the edge. Do the best you can. Wrap. You can kind of see some extra wax, can't you? Go ahead and wrap. You'll hold it in either hand and twist. Now again, we have only made the Tootsie Roll kind of method because trying to do the Hershey Kiss with this kind of a whole long thing just makes for a lot of paper, so that's way too much paper. Now with mine, I didn't actually have to cut my paper. If you have longer wax paper, you should, but there you go. There is our toilet paper tube fire starter. So campers, you ready to make your own toilet paper tube dryer lint and wax fire starter?
Yeah!
Awesome. And we're finished! Now, you can see our fire starters here. It's really not all that important who made who, so let's just go ahead and we will make sure and put our fire starters in an airtight container. And do be careful because these kind of squish. And if you can squish them flat, but it makes for, they can become too dense. And we did that one time where they were so dense that they wouldn't light on fire either. Till we've had a few camping, you know. So go ahead and put those in a container, and you want it to be airtight, and that way that they won't get wet from humidity, which is, you know, the moisture in the air, or otherwise. Now do store these in an area that's not too hot because, you know, as you've heard us say before, we let our fire starters get too hot once and they all melted together, and it was really hard to use them because everything was just melted into a mess. So speaking of mess, don't forget to clean up your mess, and we'll see you later. We hope that you had fun. And again, be careful with fire. So we'll see you later. Bye.